Hey guys, today's book comes highly recommended by one of your classmates. It's a book by Dan Gutman, and it's called The Mostly True Story of Cleopatra's Needle. So Cleopatra was a ruler of ancient Egypt. So that might be one thing that gets you excited about the story. But also Dan Gutman is a very familiar author to us. So you may be interested in reading another one of his stories. So this particular story follows 5 kids across centuries and continents. And it depicts a thrilling story of how something that seems to be impossible and nearly ends in disaster finally succeeds against all odds. So our story begins in present day New York City in Central Park. And then it's going to go back into time. And if you're someone that likes to have kind of like a visual of like time periods, you have a table of contents and it's labeled with the year, with the location. And then you'll see like the dates like 1461 to 1460 BCE. So that stands for like before Jesus' time, before Christ was born. So I'm going to read the introduction to you today. Let me just say from the start that I don't want to do this. I don't have anything to do with this book. To be honest, I don't particularly like reading books, and I'm not crazy about learning stuff or going to museums or becoming well-rounded or any of that other boring stuff that nice boys are supposed to like. I didn't ask to come here. I just wanted to stay home and watch a ball game on TV. My mom made me come. So I bet already some of you could probably relate to this character. So here I am in Central Park in New York City. It's probably the most famous park in the world, and there's lots of cool stuff to do here. Like they've got a zoo and 2 skating rinks and a carousel and rocks to climb, and ball fields and all kinds of other fun stuff. But no, my mom didn't take me to see any of that cool stuff. She took me here. Okay, and here is an actual picture of Cleopatra's Needle in Central Park. We're sitting on a wooden bench in front of this giant thing. Mom calls it Cleopatra's Needle. It's this big monument made out of stone, I guess. It looks sort of like the Washington Monument with that point at the top. I said it to my mom, hoping we could move on and be done with it. She kept right on talking. Let's see. Just look at it, my mom said as she gazed up in wonder. It's the height of a 7-story building, but it was carved 3,500 years ago. It's the oldest outdoor monument in New York City and the oldest man-made object in Central Park. One of the oldest in the world. And we're sitting right in front of it. Can you believe it? It's like an ancient skyscraper. I really don't care, Mom. I know, it was obnoxious, but spending a Saturday going to see some big old pointy rock is not exactly my idea of a good time. Still, 3,500 years ago, that's some old chunk of rock, I had to admit. I know that World War II was in the 1940s. That was less than a century ago. I know the Civil War was in the 1860s, so that was like 150 years ago. The Declaration of Independence was 1776. That's about as far back in my mind as I can imagine. Can't wrap my head around something that's 35 centuries old. Cleopatra's Needle has some weird ancient symbols carved into the sides. So I guess it's from prehistoric times or whatever, but I wasn't going to ask any specifics because my mom would go into a long history of the things and I'd be stuck having to be here for hours. It was carved in 1461 BCE, my mom told me. So what? Just because something old is old doesn't mean I need to care about it. Mom's always trying to get me interested in the stuff that she's interested in, not falling for that old trick. Nobody tells me what I should be interested in. Mom takes us places. We live in New Jersey. It's not that far to get on a train or bus into New York, so we go to the city from time to time. She means well, but unless it's a game or Thanksgiving Day parade or something cool, I just don't care. My sister had to go to a birthday party today, so Mom took me to the Metropolitan Museum of Art in New York. I had to look at a bunch of sculptures and paintings and stuff. Yard! The place goes on forever. Afterwards, we got hot dogs from a vendor on the street, and she took me to Cleopatra's Needle. It's right behind the museum in Central Park. This weighs about 220 tons, Mom explained. This pedestal alone is 50 tons. She started rattling off statistics the way she does. She likes numbers. It's 69 feet high, she said, and each side is 8 feet across. That's fascinating, Mom, I said semi-sarcastically. Can we go now? Of course, there wasn't a city here in 1461 BCE, Mom continued. This was carved in Egypt in a place called Aswan. It's about 500 miles south of Cairo. Did I mention that my mom makes her living as a storyteller? She goes to schools and fairs and tells stories, not just for kids, for everybody. She does the voices of all the different characters and everything. She really knows how to suck you into a story. Sometimes they're true stories. Sometimes she just makes stuff up. Anyway, I have to sit through her stories all the time. She considers it a challenge to try to get me hooked. Think about it, she says. People in ancient Egypt carved this giant structure out of solid granite. Then, in 1880, somebody managed to load it into a boat. Then they brought it all the way across the Atlantic Ocean. Then they unloaded it at the Hudson River. Then they dragged it across Manhattan and stood it up right here. And remember, back then, they didn't have trucks, airplanes, or computers. I had to fight my temptation to ask her how it was possible to do all that stuff with old technology. There's a secret hidden inside Cleopatra's Needle, you know, Mom told me. Okay, I'll bite. I can't resist a secret. What's the secret? I asked. Oh, so now you're interested, she said. It starts a long time ago in Africa. Part 1. I am enslaved. This is my story. 1461 to 1460 BCE. Diary of Zohar Zuberi, a boy in Aswan, Egypt, where Cleopatra's Needle was carved. Translated from Egyptian. Okay. All right, and so the story then moves on, but starting from the very beginning with how Cleopatra's Needle was first created. So again, this is highly recommended if you love historical fiction, if you love mystery, excitement, adventure, or maybe you're just the type of reader who can identify with the character in the introduction, who doesn't really care about learning, is easily bored with the things that his mom is interested in, but gets sucked in by trying to uncover a 35 centuries old secret about Cleopatra's Needle. This is definitely for you. Enjoy!